Okay guys, thanks for tuning in to another video. Today we have an exciting one, a gun that's kind of hard to get your hands on, but it seems like it's pretty popular. So I was able to get my hands on the Canik MC9. Big deal this year. I know they revealed it earlier in January. I was able to pick one up. I have not shot this at all. All I've done is kind of toy with it once I took it out of the box. It comes with a 12 round mag and a 15 round extension, which is absolutely insane for a package of this size. I'm not terribly familiar with Canik. I've had my hands on a few, but I know that this one was kind of a big deal. A lot of people were waiting on it. So let's run a few rounds through it and see what I think. Well, good shooter. I'll tell you that. Really smooth. I'm trying to kind of see what I noticed. First thing I actually did notice, and I'm notorious for saying it doesn't matter to me, but I noticed the trigger. Incredibly crisp trigger for a striker fire. I fully expected this to be like a lot of other strikers. Not very good, not a crisp break or anything, but this one absolutely has a really crisp break on it. That's what I noticed right away. I'm gonna keep running a few through. I don't want to say too much. Let's put a few more rounds through and I'll let you know what I think. Okay, so that was running about 70-80 rounds, somewhere around there, with the new Canik MC9. So this is just my initial impressions. I really like it. I was very indifferent about it. Again, like I mentioned in the intro, I don't have a lot of time behind a Canik. But once I heard this one was coming out, and it seems like they were a little bit tough to get, and they still are. Before I get any deeper, that brings me to the point. I want to thank my buddy Kendrick at On Point Arms LLC, who's able to get this for me. He always helps me out, and if you guys are interested, it's vet owned, a smaller company, so I like to support those guys a lot. So shout out to him. I'll leave his information down below. But getting back, like I mentioned before, the first thing I noticed, great trigger. I dare to say that it's one of the better striker triggers I've shot. And I've shot Zev, I've shot Shadows, those higher ends. Really crisp trigger, very surprising. And accuracy, really accurate. I was shocked. It's super easy to keep it on target. A lot of smaller platforms like this, I've noticed, say, these Hellcat size and Glock 43s, things like that, are a little bit more snap to them, but this one I didn't notice that really at all. So those were a couple things that I really liked. This does come with a 12 round flush fit mag, and it also comes with a 15 round extension. as you can see here, and 15 rounds is pretty crazy with a package this size. So that's another huge pro. Also, this is optics ready. I don't have an optic on it yet. Again, this is the first time I've had it out, and once I get a full review, which will be coming out in the next couple of weeks after I have a few hundred rounds through it, I may have an optic on it. I'm not sure yet. The sight picture, let me get you a look here. So it's it's got to focus on me, I guess. There you can kind of see it. It's the blacked out rear with the white front. I don't mind it. The front I usually like when they're tritium. Obviously, that's a little bit more of an upgrade, but I do like the blacked out rear. So it's really easy to focus on the front sight. So that's really nice. Didn't have any failures there. Like I said, it was right around 100 rounds. I don't keep track. It does have a rail in the bottom, which is nice. Stippling on the back here is kind of like a 120 grit sandpaper. It's pretty fine, so not too aggressive, but there's a little bit of stippling on it, so it's easy to get a good grip on it. It does come with extra back straps. That's one thing I'm going to get into, and I'll show you in my full review. They send a lot of stuff with these things. I mean, they send in a holster with it. I thought that was pretty crazy. It's nothing special, but I mean, that's really nice that they do that. They sent a lot of accessories in a really nice case, and this one ran me $4.99, so they're about $500. So they're right in that price point range, and actually on the lower end, in my opinion, for what you're getting. It has an ambidextrous slide release here. You can see it on either side, so that's nice. Let's kind of run over a few things I don't love about it. First thing, it's not going to matter to a lot of people, but I just want to address it. Aesthetically, so as far as looks goes, it's not the most good looking gun you've ever seen. It's not horrible, just kind of basic, but not a big deal for a lot of people. So that's one thing. Another thing I noticed is there's not much of a beaver tail on this one. So if you're prone to getting slide bite, if you kind of over grip the gun, that may happen to you. I have tiny hands, so that didn't really matter to me, but I would like to see that a little bit extended out. It seems like it's easier to get a good grip up high if you have that. Another thing that I would like to see, and obviously it gets a little busy, but there's no stippling here. Well, that would be if you're lefty, but if you're right-handed, where you rest your thumb, it's just smooth. So it almost rests on the pick rail on the bottom. So it's a little bit weird to kind of get that solid feel on it. And again, that's something you probably would get used to, and a lot of guys may not even notice. So my initial impressions, I really like it, and I think it's a great price point. I just can't believe how much of a smooth shooter it is, and the trigger. So I'm gonna get a few more rounds, like I said, a few hundred rounds through it, and I'll do a full review, and obviously I'll let you guys know if I run into any issues, of course. I do know that Canik had some issues with these upon release. That's why they have a backlog of orders. This one, again, no problems just yet. So personally, I can't speak to that, but if that happens down the road, I'll be sure to let you guys know. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to compare this against other carry options. The biggest one, again, and I know I do a lot of it, but is that CR920. I'm going to compare the two because the 920 is so popular right now, and that's actually my favorite carry option right now. But I'll tell you, once I get a few more rounds through this, that may change, and that's kind of saying something because I love the 920. I love Shadow products, but for the price point of this and for how it shoots, it could be a better shooter, honestly, at least in my opinion. So be sure to stay tuned, guys. Once I get the full review out, it'll be within the next couple of weeks here. I appreciate the support, and stay tuned.